Happy Wednesday, Scarlet Faithful Podcast. Aaron Brightman coming to you a day after Rutgers wins its second consecutive Big Ten road game, beating Maryland 56-53 on Tuesday night. It was a tremendous defensive effort and an encouraging offensive performance, shooting 50% from the floor in the second half, shot 82% from the foul line. Struggled from three once again, was able to score in transition, and just played very connected, inspired basketball. They were having fun, and just wanted to cover a few kind of extra thoughts following my rapid reaction. Also, some notable kind of stats and things that came from the game. And also just, talk about a couple other things as well. So in terms of this win, Steve Pikiell passes Bob Wenzel as third all-time in wins, head coach program history. That is significant. And also just tying into the Bob Wenzel era, Kevin Lorenz, the former head of communications at Rutgers Athletics, who's now with the president's office, had a good tweet earlier today. Rutgers has won back-to-back Big Ten road games before, but the last time the program won back-to-back conference road games played consecutively, so no home game in between or neutral game. 33 years ago, the 1991 team during Atlanta 10 play, they beat Rhode Island by 13 on February 5th, and they beat St. Bonaventure by 13 as well on February 9th. So it's kind of funny. Same week, 33 years later, Bob Wenzel, obviously the coach of that team. That team is very fond in my memory. From that year, I was 14, and they had the great Keith Hughes on that team, transferred from Syracuse, along with point guard Earl Duncan. They had Donnell Lumpkin, my favorite shooter in program history, was from South Brunswick and would shoot it from that far away at the rack. So a lot of great players on that team, and they ended up, unfortunately, they didn't win the A-10 tournament. They lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They were a 9 seed, losing to 8 seed Arizona State. Was it Bill Friedel? He was the coach that was fired by Michigan when they won the title. Anyway, my memory's a little rusty today. But that they were winning with like 7 minutes to go. They lost the game. But I love that team. I love the Wenzel era. And Steve Pikiell passes Bob Wenzel with this win, third in program history. And that is significant. Another thing that was notable before I get into kind of like rotation things was Cliff. He has done, history books wise, moved up quite a bit. He's just starting to get that phase of his career where he's just ramping up in the record books. He passed the great Roy Henson for fifth all-time in rebounds in his career at Rutgers. Roy Henson, early 80s, had a long NBA career. He passed Jim Valvano for 20th all-time in field goals made, Bob Gratian for 28th all-time in points, and he tied also, I'm saying great a lot, but it's true, all these guys are just legends. The great James Bailey for 17th most blocks in a season. He is climbing up the record books game after game right now. So that I thought was notable. He was also nominated, or he was a finalist for National Defensive Player of the Year, 15 finalists by the Naismith Foundation, and he was one of them, named on Wednesday. So he's obviously been great defensively. He's showing progress, I think. In terms of offense, they're getting him higher percentage looks, and he's playing with more intensity. And he seemed to really have kind of an extra pep to his step the last couple of games. Mag, I wanted to harp on Mag in terms of what he's been doing. The last two games, he was great offensively. I thought, he's going stronger to the basket. He's more sure of himself. It seems like Steve Pikiell alluded to the fact that his knee was bothering him. Obviously, he tore his ACL last year, and not that he's injured, just soreness, and he's getting back into the swing of things still. So he had a 5-game stretch of averaging over 16 points and a 3-game stretch of just 2 points total. He's now scored 15 plus the last 2 games. First time he's ever done that in his career. He's now scored double digits in 8 of 14 games this year. And prior to that, in his first 3 seasons, he only scored 15 plus points in 8 of 63 games. So we saw his value increase last year in terms of how he was starting to blossom as an offensive player. I really don't think it should go unnoticed, or it should be talked about more in terms of how he's come back from the injury, and he's more of a consistent offensive contributor. And, Kevin Willard, I posted the clip on my YouTube today and social media in terms of him talking both about Jeremiah Williams, but also Mawot Mag, and saying he's the best defensive player he's seen in college in a long time, and just talked about his value. I've talked about it too. It's like he just knows how to make plays defensively. He knows how to be, and his help side defense, his ability to just react, his ability to know just where to be in the right spot at the right time. He's been incredible. He's fearless. He's aggressive in trapping. He's just multiverse. He can defend multiple positions. He just really is fundamentally sound and understands Steve Pikiell's defense, which is not easy to learn. And he's been just fantastic for this team. Even though, listen, you're going to be inconsistent at times, but I just think, as much as we're appreciating Jeremiah Williams right now, as he deserves, I think Mawot Mag also deserves a lot of credit. For just enhancing his or enhancing his level of play on the offensive end while returning to his elite form on the defensive end. It really has been big for Rutgers. And just in terms of Jeremiah Williams, Willard was saying how it's drastically different team with him. We all see the results. We've all seen that. One thing I haven't pointed out that I noticed just in looking back at tape from yesterday is, not only is Rutgers getting into their sets better with Jeremiah on the floor and also quicker in the shot clock, but their spacing is a lot better. And him and Simpson are almost like alternating, getting downhill, attacking the rim. And with the better spacing, they're getting lanes to drive. They found Cliff on several occasions. Mag had a couple buckets where he got found off of penetration. So this is a good rhythm for them to be in, and it's just incredible. This kid's playing 2 games for the first time in a year and a half, and he's making such a big impact. And it really has been a game changer for this team. And in terms of Derek Simpson, that there was a play, and I'm working on a highlight video, kind of just a analysis video on Jeremiah Williams' impact the last 2 games. But there was a play. He got the defensive rebound, and he made a pass in transition deep on the other end of the floor to Derek Simpson in stride, where he was able to attack baseline underneath the rim, finish strong, made a number 5 top Sports Center top play of the night. But it's just another example of him sharing the basketball, looking for his teammates, his court awareness on both ends of the floor. That steal he made on Jameer Young, how he, looking at the Michigan game when he had that athletic offensive rebound, he was on the perimeter. He just crashed the boards and anticipated the rebound going to that spot. So he has a high basketball IQ, aside from his athleticism, aside from his versatility, aside from his team first mindset. He's the real deal. And this is really, and yes, what could have Rutgers' season been if he was available right away? Don't forget the 2-time transfer rule was still in effect when the season started, so no one thought he had a chance to play this year. And then that went away, and then the gambling thing complicated the delay. He also, by the way, is recovering off a torn Achilles. So all of that, it's just incredible what he's been able to do. Obviously, he's going to be on the scouting report now. He's going to have to make some adjustments. Rutgers is going to have to make some adjustments. But it's just been great to see the activity of this team in the half court and how he's kind of just rejuvenated the entire roster. The rotations in terms of Steve Pikiell, he's really tightened it up. That starting 5 now, you have Cliff and Mag, Jeremiah with Jamichael Davis, and Derek Simpson. They are, playing the majority of time. And then you had Andre Hyatt got big minutes yesterday, obviously with Jeremiah and also Cliff in foul trouble. He played 27 minutes, and I wanted to harp on Andre Hyatt, his attitude. has been great. He's been the starter. He was the leading scorer. All of a sudden, he kind of fell off after Penn State. Jeremiah comes back. He's playing hard. He did a lot of things. He had blocks. He had steals. Um, you know, he was more efficient shooting the basketball last night. He has always been a willing rebounder and defender. I always have thought like he's better as a secondary contributor, not a primary contributor, and that's not easy to take for a 6-year guy that was kind of the guy and trying to assume a leadership position. So I've just been high on Andre Hyatt all year, but I think this is almost even more deserving of his praise in terms of he's been a better offensive player this year, but his unselfishness, his ability to be a team first player, the way he's adapted very quickly on the fly here, and just what this team's been able to do together on the road now, it's pretty remarkable. And aside from Hyatt, I mean, Gavin Griffiths is getting the 7th most minutes now. Noah Fernandez got some run last night. Igbole has gotten a little bit of run. But I think primarily you're looking at a tightening up of a rotation that's going to be primarily 7 guys. Austin Williams was out last night. Pico said he's needed a few days off. He's banged up. He's coming off injuries as well. People forget Noah Fernandez had a wrist issue and a foot injury last year. So this team, they're veteran, but they got a lot of banged up guys, and I think maybe some wear and tear of the season is starting to add up a little bit. But it's an interesting rotation if that is how it tightens up with Hyatt as the 6th man, Gavin as the 7th, and perhaps J. Michael doesn't start every game, maybe based on matchups. I saw some comments. Why doesn't Pico play Wolf at the 4 alongside Cliff? Because he's got Mawot Mag. That's why. There's no reason to take minutes away from Mawot Mag for Wolf. I mean, Wolf's going to get some run. He got 3 rebounds early in the game yesterday, and you could potentially play Mag at the 3 a little bit, I think, but that's the biggest answer to me. And then you have like Bulle now backing up Cliff. So I mean, listen, I like Wolf. He's great. He's a great screener. He plays under control. He's got really good ball handling skills for a big man. But he hasn't been dynamic, and although he's been praised for being the most improved and all that, he's a little too cerebral, I think, in terms of he doesn't impose his will. But I haven't given up on him, and I think that he's going to have moments. He's going to have a chance to make an impact, and he's just got to be able to capitalize on that. But in terms of why he's not playing side by side with Cliff, to me, that's got to be the reason. I mean, you don't take away minutes from Mawot Mag unless he really needs a break or something. And then just in terms of what else, Davis. I forgot about Davis's 3 last night. That was huge. He took that extra dribble to get back into the flow, into his shot. He took the dribble to get into his shot, and he top of the key or top of the 3-point arc and nailed it. It was a huge 3. So I just think, obviously, winning basketball teams get multiple contributions in games, but we really saw it last night against Maryland. This team step up, and all the adversity they overcame. Maryland coming back off that terrible technical call against Simpson was a really bad call, and but they held it together. And Mawot Mag's 2 free throws at the end, it was pretty remarkable. And now, my only hope for this team is that they just make things as interesting as they possibly can. They're 4-7 now, still a long road to go, but now you come home for 2 pivotal home games: Wisconsin on Saturday, ranked number 11th, and then Northwestern the following week on Thursday. After Saturday, Rutgers is going to finish the last 4 weeks of the regular season on a Thursday-Sunday schedule, so they're going to have extra time from Northwestern. It's a huge opportunity. 2 very good teams, obviously, but if Rutgers can get it together at home and pull those games off, things are going to get interesting. I'm not saying, they're even on the bubble at that point. Then you go to Minnesota, who's been winning like crazy at home. You still have Michigan, Maryland, and Ohio State coming back to the rack. They're one of 4 programs to win 10 Big Ten regular season games the last 4 years. They need to go 6-3 to do it. Again, I don't think it's impossible. Is it likely? I wouldn't say it's likely, but 35-40% chance. I think it's certainly possible, and it would just as polar opposite of last season, how amazing the season was and how disappointing and heartbreaking it was once Mag went down. It was just, even if the results, it doesn't end up in the happiest of endings going to March Madness, it would just be so great to see these guys respond to adversity. They faced so much this year, and to get back into it, finish respectable, finish with a winning record, finish close to 10 wins in Big Ten play, make a little bit of noise in the Big Ten tournament, and just finish with in a very respectable way that is going to be overappreciated because of how the season started. It goes back to Steve Peichel and the values and the culture that he's established and how he gets the most out of these guys. And you're seeing now, what he envisioned with Jeremiah Williams there. You're seeing it in broad daylight now. So just a great win. And I have a Wisconsin content creator coming on Friday. I'll have a preview as part of that as well. But definitely something to, it's just great that they've, the worst loss this season. Here we are, back-to-back road wins, third win in a row of Maryland. It's fun to see this team win again. And, listen, they shot 50% from the field against a very, 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 very good team, top 10 national team defensively in the second half. That counts for something. So, like I said, their spacing's better in the half court. They're taking better shots. They're getting more layup opportunities. Dunks and layups, they've been in the high 20s now. Last time they were 24, 14 of 24. The game before, they were 18 of 29. They were a lot of games. They were like around a dozen. So they're getting to the rim better. They're taking higher percentage shots. Three's not falling. That has to come at some point. But they have an identity on offense now. And Jeremiah Williams is giving them that. Just in terms of some other Rutgers news, the women's basketball team lost to Maryland on Wednesday night. They've had a rough go of it. They had an awesome 1-point road win at Nebraska. They've been out without second-team All-Big Ten and leading scorer Kaylin Schmeichel for a while now. They started the year without Iowa Sidibe. They've been short-handed. Maya Petticourt, their point guard transfer, has been out she's back, but she's missed a lot of games. And Destiny Adams, the transfer from North Carolina, has played really, really well. She had 22 last night. Jillian Hoyer, the redshirt freshman, started a semester early last year. Her brother Kevin's in the NBA. Also, he ironically played for Maryland. She's shooting 39% from three this season. That's amazing. She's averaging over 2 makes a game, excuse me. So that's promising. Another true freshman, Lisa Thompson, played well last night. So this program is going to take time. But I still like the direction of it, what Koki Squashin is doing, the recruiting class she has come in. They play really hard too. So I'm encouraged by that. And then Rutgers football got a 2025 commitment on whatever night last night was, Tuesday night. It was Talibi Kaba from Hillside, New Jersey. He's a linebacker / running back. He's listed as an athlete. 3 195, very good athlete, and the type of player he's not too far from a 4-star rating. He is 3-star right now, he's I've seen a couple rating services. He's on the fringe of 24/7 Sports has him 12th in New Jersey. So this is a quality pickup. You also have Sean Ashenfelder, the quarterback from Florida, who's a 3-star. He committed previously. It's funny how today is National Signing Day, and it's really irrelevant at this point. Some of the Blue Bloods are signing, a handful of guys, but early signing period in December is really where it's at now. And, it's just kind of funny that we're talking about a 2025 commit when it's actually the signing day for 2024. But, it remains to be seen what Rutgers does in the portal the rest of the offseason, in terms of, do they add a tight end? Do they add some more defensive line help? They got Malcolm Ray from Florida State previously this offseason. So a lot of, that will be coming soon. Spring camp will be coming up in March. I'm going to do a football episode with David Anderson this week as well. So lots to talk about coming up soon there. And then men's lacrosse got a win. I had Ross Scott on last week, 2-time All-American to preview their season. They beat Lehigh. So that was a big win for that program. Gymnastics has been performing pretty well. Track and field was ranked a couple weeks ago. I missed talking about that for the first time ever in winter. There's a lot of things going on. Wrestling has struggled again in terms of getting that signature win, but I'm really intrigued by that lineup, and I think they're going to do some damage both in the Big Tens and NCAAs in March. So we'll see. I'll have Eric Vesper on again soon to discuss them. But and then spring baseball is coming up. Excited about that. I'm going to have head coach Steve Owens on soon. You obviously have women's lacrosse, softball. I'm going to try to link up with them as well. So definitely, I don't have the site anymore, but from the podcast, I'll definitely continue to work in the other sports while I, of course, primarily talk about football and basketball. But it's an exciting time. And this season, basketball, it's been a tough stretch. But, I think the thing that people forget about is that maybe saying things are explainable is the wrong way to say it, but it's not. Whenever things happen that expectations aren't exceeded, people start to panic, right? And they think there's some kind of culture problem, or why did the players who left for NIL leave? Was it really about money, or was it something else? Yeah, it was about money. It was about opportunity too. Listen, Cam Spencer's a leading scorer on the number one team in the country, and he was your starting two guard, and he shot 40% last year. He had the sixth best single season 3-point shooting percentage in program history, and steals as well. I think he had the sixth most in the season. Again, I'm getting old, fuzzy memory, but at any rate, it's hard to recover from that. But you got Jeremiah Williams now, gives him a different dynamic, and this team has been fun to watch the last two games. And Saturday's going to be massive, and just for pride too, and just statement. And it's always fun to beat Wisconsin, and we'll see what happens. So a little bit of a ramble session here. I got a couple more pods, I got at least 2 or 3 coming up before the Saturday's game. So stay tuned. Check out my YouTube channel. I'm going to have a video coming out on Jeremiah Williams pretty soon, if not tonight, by tomorrow morning. And anything you can do to support, just liking my videos, subscribing at all, Apple and Spotify as well. And also Night and Day Apparel, got to plug them. Scarlet Faithful, type that in as a discount code. You get 10% off. Great merch there. I'm really excited about my partnership with them. And, everybody stay well. It's the dog days of winter, mid-February, but it's fun to talk about some positive news with this program, football as well. And, Rutgers athletics, just a lot going on, and the spring's going to be really fun to track as well. Thanks so much for listening and watching once again. I'll talk to you soon.